So one question I often get is, why does manifestation feel so heavy? And this might be when you're affirming, when you're visualizing, when you're scripting, or any other technique that you're trying. If manifesting feels heavy to you, that's a likely signal that you still need to purge your old identity. And so today we're going to cover that in more detail. And we're going to cover 3 key steps for you. 1, what is a purge process? 2, how do you know if you need to purge or not? And 3, what are the 3 things that you can start to do today to start to purge and release the old you to make way for the new you? Okay, so what is purge? Well, purge, think of purge as you releasing the old version of you to make way for the new version. And the reason that's so important is because if you're still holding on to limiting beliefs, old stories, patterns, those are the things that your conscious and subconscious mind is going to keep reverting back to, even as you do more and more manifestation work. And before you can make way for the new, you have to know how to release the old. And why is that so important? Well, because your upbringing and where you are and how you've got to where you've got to at the moment has been through a series of steps in your journey. And that journey has included successes, but it's also included a lot of pains. And those pains you're conscious of right now, even as I'm talking to you, but some of those pains you're not conscious of. And some of those things are some of the old stories that have been programmed into you. Some of that wiring in your brain that has led to your belief about who you are in this present moment. And also some of the life experiences that have reinforced some of those things. So a good example of that is if you have gone through relationships in a certain dynamic, perhaps you're the one who's often felt that you are giving so much of yourself and actually getting relatively little in return. Perhaps you're a self-sacrificer. Then your relationship dynamics, without having released those things, actually is going to keep you wired back to that same pattern in all your relationships until 1, you learn how to recognize it, and 2, you learn how to release it. Now imagine that magnified at scale. So it's about your whole life, about not just who you think you are in a relationship, but who you think you are in a career, how you think about money, how you think about love, how you think about family, how you think about yourself. And until you can, 1, be conscious of what those patterns are, and 2, learn how to release them, you can't move forward. And so purge is always the first step of our pulse process, because you carry so much conscious and unconscious pattern, belief, stories, programming. And so we're going to learn how to release those today. So you may be watching this and thinking, that's not me. I've got nothing to clear. I am all good. Let's test that theory right now. So how do you know if you are stuck in purge? There are 3 key questions that if you ask yourself these honestly, you'll know if you're stuck in purge. 1, how do you feel when you manifest? So let's say you're doing affirmations in the morning, or journaling in the morning, or perhaps even some scripting in the evening. Whatever technique you're currently using, how do you feel? If you feel heavy, stuck, clogged in some way, you are likely stuck in purge. Now, what does that look like? Well, it means that as you start scripting, as you start journaling about all of the things you're trying to tell yourself, I am a magnet. I am the love I deserve. My SP cannot wait to meet me. Money loves me. Whatever it might be. If you say that and you don't truly believe it, and as you're saying it, something deep feels heavy, that's when you know you're still in purge. Why? Because your nervous system is telling you there's a lack of alignment because something is holding you back. Something in your past that perhaps you're not even conscious of yet is holding you back. Question 2. When you think about your highest self, So imagine the person who already has it all. This is the being you think you want to be right now. How does that person feel to you? Does that feel light, energetic? Does it feel like it's already yours? Or honestly, does that feel really distant? Does it feel like something that you may never get? Does it feel like something that you are questioning if you even deserve or not? If that's true, you are stuck in purge. Because remember, purge is about those old limiting beliefs, those old patterns, that current rewiring in your brain that is keeping you stuck. And your brain keeps reinforcing those stories. It will look for evidence in your conscious world about those things. So if you think of yourself at a certain level of money, for instance, let's say you're struggling to make over a certain amount each month. If you keep in that pattern, your mind consciously is going to keep looking for that. So it will look for things that keep within a certain price point. It will look for things like bills, unexpected bills. It will look for things like window shopping, where instantly you feel like you can't afford it. And those are all very conscious things. Those are all very real material things, but it's more about how you feel. If you already feel like a millionaire, then your mind intuitively is going to start to point to things that are going to grow that. But that is all identity work, and that's coming up in a future video. So the second question here is, when you think about your highest self, how does that person feel? If that person feels heavy, distant, or that you don't deserve that person, you are likely stuck in purge. The third one is controversial, and it's about aligned action. Aligned action is something I talk to clients about all the time, because until you recognize what actions your higher self would take in this very moment, you are not taking aligned action. Aligned action is for many the missing piece. But when you think about taking aligned action, what instantly comes to mind? So a good example is, let's say you're trying to manifest a new relationship. Let's say you're trying to manifest your soulmate. What aligned action are you thinking about? So it might be joining a dating app. It might be getting out there more. It might be visiting certain coffee shops, libraries. It might be actually about what you do with yourself as well to make yourself feel in a certain position. But are you taking that aligned action? Or even better, when you think about that aligned action, how does that make you feel? So you say that you want to meet the love of your life, but actually, when you think about going out there more, how does that feel? If that feels distant, heavy, not for you, there are still some old beliefs and patterns that we need to start to rewire. And that's what we're going to do in the next section. So how do you start the purge? How do you start to release the old you? There are 3 steps that I always go through with clients right at the start of our journey. And actually the first step you can actually get for free. Just hit the link in the comment section, and I'm going to put the pulse method and our 6 key questions as a start of the 10 available to you for free. So check that out below. But they essentially form what's known as a truth check. And the truth check is always key, because the truth check is about how you get real about yourself and your current stories. So those questions, I won't go into them now because you can get them for free below, but they revolve around certain parts of manifestation, certain old stories, thinking about your past. But the other thing you can do as well is take a piece of paper, divide it into 2, and then draw 2 more lines across. So you're left with 6 boxes, essentially, on one piece of paper. And in those, you're going to have the following titles: money, love, career, family, lifestyle, health. Now, when you've labeled all 6 of those areas, I want you to write freely, openly. Put a timer on if it helps as well, about where you currently rank your life in each of those 6 areas. Why is that important? Because it starts to actually get out of the mind what you need to commit to in writing. When you write, something happens to our conscious mind that actually processes a lot more thoughts, more clearly and more honestly. You might even feel your hand shaking as you're starting to write this. That is natural and totally normal. So the first step is a truth check. Now, you're going to take a step back once you've written that and actually move on to step 2. Step 2, once you've listed all those 6 things out, is that you're going to answer this question. How do I feel about my life right now? But the difference with this step is you're going to do it only for 15 minutes. So put a 15-minute timer on and write freely and openly and unashamedly, how do I feel about my life right now? After you've done that, read that answer to yourself. Read it out loud if it helps you. And look at it in combination with those 6 boxes. And you're going to circle the words that appear frequently. So when I've done this with clients, some of those words are things like scared, fear, not enough, childhood, old relationships. Whatever those common themes are, circle them. Start to see where those trends are in your answer. And then, this is the really important part. You need to judge honestly where that's come from. Now, I'm going to cover in the next video how to look at this from a pattern perspective. But for now, we're just looking at an old identity. So where has that identity come from? If you're writing your answer down and you notice the word fear, lack, scared, broken, where is that coming from? Be honest with yourself. Because the final step, step 3 in this purge process, you're going to write a letter to your old self from your new self. And this release letter is often a really, really emotional step for a lot of clients because it starts to pinpoint the future you, all the things you're going to say to the past you, and starting to release that old identity. I am going to make a template available to you, also link in the comments, because I want you to start to really put action into this yourself. So look at the template, but please make it your own. Because in this release letter, you're going to thank your old self. Your old self has got you to a certain place that actually you couldn't have got to without. But clearly you want something more. You know you're deserving of something more. So you need to write a letter from your new self to your current self. Now that letter is going to contain a lot of emotion, a lot of release, probably a lot of catharsis as well. And at the end of that step, you then have a choice. You want to keep that letter? You want to burn it? You want to rip it up? What do you want to do with it? You want to go for a walk, throw it away somewhere. Whatever that physical release is, that is the final step. So I hope that's been useful to you. Reach out, please, directly if you have any questions, or comment below if you have any questions. Always happy to answer further questions on this area. Don't forget, the Pulse method is available for free in the comments. Start your journey. Be intentional. I'm rooting for you.